Yeah. In your house with O'Con. Hey, O'Con in your house. Hollywood in your house. Hypocrisy's head in the clouds. Curating all kind of loud. Wrestling in front of the crowds. Paragon's holding it down. Anybody can get it. Josh Joseph standing on his decisions. He is the voice. There is no choice. We as them boys in your house making wrestling noise. Moving fast just like cruiserweight action. In your house is the perfect distraction. Pumpers in your ears when you in traction. Get this work with some wrestling action. Smoke.
What is up, guys? What is cracking? It's the Con Man, and I am in your house. And you guys already know the vibes. Anytime we slide on through, we here to give you that work when it comes to this professional wrestling business. And guys, it is Wednesday, and man, it is post WrestleMania, post Raw after WrestleMania. The dust still hasn't fully settled, because we still have SmackDown after WrestleMania. But man, what a wrestling weekend it was. And I got to take in pretty much every bit of it, except for really the Hall of Fame, because I wasn't staying up till 1 o'clock in the morning to watch that. That wasn't happening. That was not happening. But I got to tell you, everything else that I saw from the SmackDown before Stand and Deliver was great. WrestleMania night 1 and night 2, and then Raw after WrestleMania. My God, it was great. Great. I enjoyed it. I always enjoy WrestleMania no matter what. But man, what really stuck out to me was, man, that Raw after WrestleMania. And I'm very fortunate because that's what we do here. That's why it's called the Raw Deal with Howse and O'Neal. We get to talk about this awesome Raw after WrestleMania, and I get to do it with my co-host here, Divinely Designed Annie O'Neal. What is up, Annie?
What's up, Con? We are here to give it to everyone exactly how they ask for it, and if they're not ready, they're getting it anyway. We're here with the Raw Deal with Howse and O'Neal.
Yes, we are. It's time, and what a Raw we got to talk about.
Oh my God! Like standing ovation.
Yes.
If I could show you, I would be standing, but then I would be out of frame. So I'm gonna just sit for this one. But this was the culmination of this amazing experience that was WrestleMania 41. Yeah. Like it ebbed, it flowed. The highs were high and the lows were low. Like it was awesome. I'm still reeling from this episode of Raw. Still reeling.
Yeah, and most definitely. It was a great episode for sure. But we also had WrestleMania, and WrestleMania was crazy. And like, here's the thing. It was a great WrestleMania. Everybody has opinions on it. Most
of them are wrong.
What's that?
Most of them are wrong.
True. Because they don't get it. But when I watched it, I understood everything they were trying to do. So what I want to ask you, Annie, is I want to get some of your thoughts on WrestleMania. You talked about the highs, you talked about the lows. I just want to get some of your reactions. What were some of those highs? What were some of those lows as you were watching WrestleMania 41?
You know, it was crazy how just a few weeks ago we were just talking about the direction of Judgment Day and where they were going to go from just like 3 weeks ago. And like this thing that felt like it was fractured at its core, it was revived in a whole new way. Like, and how Dominic Mysterio became a super face overnight, like
crazy,
incredible. Because like just 2 weeks ago, like he could barely get a word in edgewise without thunderous boos raining down upon him. Like for real. And you know what? Like, he got on that top rope. He held that title in the air and people were cheering. So, like, that is weird. So, is he a babyface now and the surrounding parts of him are the opposite? Like, that's a weird dynamic right now,
It
but I
really is.
love it. I love it. And you know what? People had their opinions on Lyra and Becky losing the belts so quickly, but it served its purpose.
It
And
did.
I think it did exactly what it needed to do. Like, and like now, like, before the fleeting thought leaves my mind, like, okay, where's Charlotte Flair gonna appear after WrestleMania?
Right.
Because like Becky became a monster heel. Like, it feels like the different parts of my ADHD brain, like I'm watching manifest in real time, but like it's much more organized.
It's crazy.
Yeah, it's crazy. But how about you? How are you feeling after this episode of Raw? The first Raw after Mania, which is, I feel like in certain ways like better than WrestleMania.
There was, in certain ways, it was better than WrestleMania. I mean, I could sit up here and talk about everything, but I'll
Mm-hmm.
try to keep the highlights there, and then we'll kind of
Right.
break things down.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, what universe are we living in where we're about to have a feud with a heel John Cena and a babyface Randy Orton? This is topsy-turvy. I don't know what's going on anymore because there is no way 15 years ago I would have
Right.
ever thought this was going to happen. But I love it. I'm ready for it. I want to see it. It's going down. Backlash. I know they haven't made it official yet, but I'm assuming it's going to go down in Backlash in St. Louis, which is, of course, Randy's hometown. Becky Lynch's heel turn. That was great. I think that it was coming. It was I'm glad. And I didn't understand why they took Bayley out and why Bayley respectfully stepped back. But I think the story is going to be better told with Becky Lynch and Lyra Valkyria because of how close they are in the history that they have. I think it makes more sense in that way. Rusev returning. Rusev is back. That was great. We'll definitely talk about that. The match between Stephanie Vacore and Io Sky. My God, those women went back and forth. That was a great match. We'll talk more about that and break that down. I mean, like I said, there's just everything about this. Gunter assaulting Pat McAfee. That was crazy. We'll talk about that. I mean, and then the main event that we saw. My God, the main event segment that we saw that was like, bro, where the hell did Braun Baker come from? Like, that was insane. I love it. And we're going to break it all down and talk all about it because I got to get your thoughts. But let's start it from the beginning here. We'll rewind it and start it from the beginning. John Cena comes out, new WWE Undisputed Champion, record setting 17. Nobody's done it except for him. John Cena with this new attitude, no flash, no colorful shirts.
PowerPoint John Cena.
Yeah, he's
terms and conditions John Cena. We're gonna regret not reading those one day.
Man,
and I think it's starting.
Listen, where John is at right now is at a point where it's like, and I think you see it too. He's literally not trying to be anybody's cool heel. He is not, because what do the cool heels do? They change their music, they change their attire, they try to, they want the fans to cling to them as a heel. I don't think John Cena's doing any of that. He's not doing any of that. Didn't change his attire. Didn't change his music. People was clamoring for it. Oh, now that we got a heel Cena, he's going to change some things. Nope. Cena is being true to what a heel is because anything that you want, he's not giving it to you. He is not giving it to you. And this is a obvious, like, this is now that Cody has lost, this thing with John Cena has transcended Cody. It's not Cena and Cody anymore. It's Cena and the fans, and he's determined to ruin wrestling.
It feels like the sun went out and there's like no warmth left in the Russellverse. Like it's insane. Like New Day is heel, John Cena is heel, and like all is awry in the universe and it's melting down, and I love it. Like the turning of the tide is what is like, it's chaotic. Uh it's crazy and you never know what's going to happen next. Like John Cena didn't even like speak to us. He spoke through the announcer on a sheet of paper.
Yep.
Like that's a giant middle finger if I've ever seen one. Like it, and it's funny because like he's right. If he and it's funny, he demonstrates the basis of human nature, and the people who just type their comments on Facebook and social media, and he is just turning the mirror back like to the behavior that he's been the recipient of the last 25 years. Like he is the worn and weathered veteran. Like it's like the person who's just had enough, but like nothing he says is wrong.
Yep.
And like it's pretty crazy. And just demanding an apology from everyone. And just how quickly people were like, we are sorry. And then like he set up a trap and then everyone got ensnared in it. Like, that was just like tactful. Like this is a sociopath at work, and it just feels menacing because like he is the void of everything that's existed for us the last over 2 decades, and he said it. People were begging him to turn heel. And we have it for 27 more shows. People got what they asked for, and now they don't want it. Like, this heel run is just all about talking about the flimsiness of human nature. And he's just pointing it out. And I love it because people don't hate anything more than the truth. And the truth is the ultra heel in this case. And I'm just saying, man,
truth comes in like a hot dagger and people don't like it. But this is once again, it goes back to what I said. John Cena's not trying to be friends with these people. Like, this is not the John Cena, like, and he's even said it. He's hinting and telling us that John Cena is going in a different direction after this run is over. And he said it. I know he said it in interviews before. Once this run is over, there's not going to be a Jorts, colorful t-shirt wearing John Cena anymore. He's going to be different. That stuff is retiring. I listen, I'll say this. I say this about people who are great all the time. And, it holds true. And I'm going to say it with John Cena. We know what we have left with John Cena. You just said it. 27 more dates.
That countdown. The visual of that countdown, of that number going down, it felt like, wow, like we really don't have that much time with someone who is considered to be a cornerstone of WWE. Like, he shaped the childhood of, like so many people that we know. And like, wow, and people take for granted what they no longer have. So
I'm just saying, appreciate John Cena while we still got him. Appreciate him, because he could have. Listen, and I know he's the heel. He don't want us to like him. I get it. Totally get it. But me understanding what he's doing, I can't help but like him because he could have easily just been like, okay, I'm just going to be, you know, can't see me John Cena for the rest of the year. It would have been nostalgic. Everybody would have been behind him. He would have been a uber, nostalgic baby face for sure. But instead, he took the road less traveled. This is unprecedented that he is saying, I am retiring in December. That WrestleMania was my last WrestleMania. I'm not staying for no other Royal Rumble. I'm not staying for no other
And
Elimination
he
Chamber.
doesn't have to wrestle.
He doesn't have to.
Nope.
And he knows it. This is very much a man who understands his love for the business, but also can differentiate like, all right, I don't need to get so involved to make my money or to entertain these fans. He has found a balance in his life that I think he's like, I'm really, really good at this, but I don't need to do this. Just like so many before him have said, I'm retiring, but then they coming back. And then they retiring, and then they coming back. John Cena's like, nah, bro, I'm done. This is it. This is it. And I just think we got to appreciate him why he's doing it, because the run that he's on right now and what he's doing, the work that he's doing is truly unprecedented.
But, and you know what? Like, and how many people actually believe the truth when it's told to them? Like black and white. Black and white as John Cena's foreboding entrance. His PowerPoint entrance.
Yep.
Like he is expressing the truth plain as day. But you know what? That's why people are invested in wrestling. That's why they suspend their disbelief, like you question everything. But and that's a part of the illusion that we're being fed, because we don't know what's really going to happen. Like, is it what he is saying word for word the truth? Or is it going to pivot on a dime? Because no matter what, like, you're along for the ride. And I just think people are invested word for word even more. Like, because you really don't know what John Cena is going to do, because he's quite capable of everything. And he doesn't have to wrestle to prove that.
And he said that. He literally said all he has to do is show up. That is all he has to do. Like, you talk about, I like what you said earlier when you said he's the grizzled vet. That's that, like, if you want to try to tag a gimmick on John Cena right now, which I don't think you can because he's just John Cena, but if you put a gun to my head and said, hey, give this man a gimmick, he's the grizzled vet that understands that in wrestling, the flex isn't how many moves you can do or how much social media posts you can get likes on or whatever. The flex is how much money can you make doing the least amount of work.
I'm here for that. I feel that on a visceral level. So he reminds me of like the Dr. Manhattan that is exiled himself to the moon because he's just sick of humanity's bullshit. Like, have you ever met the person who, like, the smartest person who just like knows too much and they hate everything?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Oh my God. Like, you can just feel how much they hate everything. Like, it's just seething and like it's John Cena written all over it.
I was gonna say, with John Cena, it's like you could even see like this is like his facial expressions completely different. Like, I think but here's the thing, and then we got to talk about Randy Orton's involvement. But I wanted to make sure I say this. I think that this is the most liberated John Cena has been in wrestling. Like,
I agree.
He's done the acting thing, and I think that's given him a chance to kind of flex his muscles in different creative ways, his creative muscles in different ways. And I think he's starting to incorporate that with wrestling now, because I think that especially in the Vince McMahon era, like, Vince was very much this is you. You have to be this. You have to be Superman. You have to be Captain America.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? Like, you have to be all that shit. And like, I think now with Vince, like, Cena is just so honest right now, and it's crazy. Like,
he didn't change on a fundamental level.
He didn't. He didn't.
He's just a different flavor of himself, and that's just like, it's pragmatic. Like, you know, like he has, and it's justified. Everything that he's saying, everything he's feeling, it's justified. You know, like 25 years of being told what to do, how to feel, what to say, like that sounds awful. It sounds awful. And
he's truly liberated right now.
Yeah. And like when you finally get that moment to share how much you've been weathered by the smile at this time, smile at that time, like that, it gets exhausting. Like being liberated like that, it's like being let out the gate.
Yeah.
And you know what? Like I had an interesting insight. What if he is the last real undisputed champion? What if he actually does retire for that belt and a new title comes of it?
Listen, it's on the table. I mean, it's absolutely on the table. I think I'm beginning to believe as time goes on that what we're going to get is John Cena is going to hold that title for this entire calendar year. And he's like, here it is. It's December.
Yeah.
I'm still champion. And guess what? Once I retire, once that last date is done, this comes with me, and the entire lineage of that entire championship comes with me. Now, you guys are probably going to create something new, but it's not going to be this.
And that's
won't
awesome.
Be this. Yeah.
The turning of a new generation, it's like, it's about damn time. Like, we're already in a new era. Why not just like crack the foundation, level it, and begin brand new? That is amazing.
But you see, where I agree with that, let me just give you a devil's advocate on that.
Yeah.
There's a story to tell with whoever it is, whether it be Cody making his return and trying to have that last minute December match. This is the last opportunity to try to save this championship from this madman John Cena who's trying to take it away. And I'm not going to let you take the lineage of the championship that's so important to me and my dad and everybody here. You're not going to. So I think there's a possibility where we could see Cody redemption story where he goes up against Cena at some event in December. I don't know what they're going to do or how they're going to present it, because Cena has made it very clear that December he's done, which means he's not going to have a big match at Royal Rumble. He's not going to have a big match at WrestleMania 42. Whatever it has to happen, it has to happen at like either Survivor Series or maybe like they're not going to do it at a Saturday Night Main Event. Maybe they'll make it a special like John Cena retirement PLE-ish type, thing where it's like Cena, Cody, last time, this is it. If Cena wins, he takes the title and the lineage home, but Cody can try to save it from it. There's a story there.
And you know what? Like, so when is Money in the Bank?
Money in the Bank, I believe, is in June, July. One of those two, but I think it's in June, but I do know it's in LA.
So I wonder what's going to pop off in between then, because I don't know if John Cena is going to have a very long title reign. I don't know if he'll go all the way till December.
It's like I said, everything's on the table.
Right. I mean, like, and I always say that after WrestleMania passes, the rest of the year is going to fly by. And it's not going to be that long before December. It really, really, really isn't.
Yeah, we're thinking like it's gonna be, oh, this is about to be what, another like 6 months or something like that. Watch
Hmm.
how fast it flies by. I
Yeah.
promise. Watch how fast it flies by. And we're like, oh shoot, he's only got 2 dates left. What the hell?
Right. Right. Like just seeing how quickly that number ticked down to 27.
Wild. It was wild. I was like, oh my God, he has showed up that much.
Yes. Yes. And he didn't wrestle. He didn't wrestle all of those times.
He sure didn't.
So I
I'm
it
telling you,
yeah.
grizzled vet who's understands in wrestling, less is more, do the least amount of work to make the most amount of money. That's what it is. That's what it is. But we
It's just
talk
teaches
about,
a lesson. Well,
yeah,
maybe we'll appreciate it more.
maybe. But we got to talk about another vet. That's Randy
Mhm.
Orton, who came in and just dropped Cena with an RKO, dropped him after a match with Joe Hendry, which was great for Joe Hendry, by the way. Awesome to see him at WrestleMania. Even if it was just a 5-minute match with Randy Orton, even though he lost, I promise you he won. I'm telling you.
Oh
I think,
yeah. Oh my
like,
god. Yeah.
I'm sure he did not have guys like Joe Hendry and Ray Phoenix probably did not have WrestleMania on their 2025 calendar at all. So it's awesome that that happened, and I want to make sure that I throw that out there. But Randy Orton makes his intention set, and it looks like we're leading towards Randy Orton versus John Cena. Heel John Cena, face Randy Orton. What the hell is going on? And it looks like the collision course could be going right towards Backlash in Randy Orton's hometown of St. Louis. What do you think? Like, is this something that you want to see? I know as far as Cena's run, I'm excited for this match. What's your thoughts on this, on these two mixing it up one last time?
And it's so funny. I want to touch on the Joe Hendry point.
Sure.
While it's still fresh. Right before Joe Hendry came out, I was just spitballing names like the most off the wall people that would come out, and I was just saying we like names to make Kevin laugh,
Yeah.
and because I'm funny and I'm charming and I make Kevin laugh. He's engrossed in video games over there. I don't know if he's actually listening. um, and the first name I said was Joe Hendry, and I about fell over because I'm like, did I just manifest that in real time? Like, I'm a wizard.
Crazy. You're a wizard.
I'm a wizard.
Crazy how that works.
And,
That was wild. I loved it.
and like, I never thought I'd see the day where I saw the TNA world title on WrestleMania.
Right. What
World title?
insane.
Or is it the knockout title?
Which the World Heavyweight Championship.
World. Okay. Okay. Like wild. We entered a new timeline. Like everything we knew,
Crazy.
we don't know anymore. Everything's changing. And yeah, like we're entering another timeline where we're getting Randy Orton and John Cena again, and that's coming up very soon. Very, very, very
Mhm.
soon.
May
And
10th, I believe.
like, yes, like that is crazy to me. Like
Nuts.
just that camera angle where John Cena would told everyone to break out their phones and take a picture. Like there was a reason for that.
Yep.
And just like John Cena was just like, he was just reveling in his string pulling, making everyone dance. And lo and behold, unknowingly behind him, there was just an RKO that just appeared out of nowhere. And it was beautiful. Absolutely beautiful.
Yeah, it was. It really was. I love
How
everything that
satisfying was
I love watching Randy do that RKO. I love it. It's always a treat. That match is going to be fun. It's gonna make Backlash fun. It's definitely main eventing. And like I said, not official yet, but it's gonna be a vibe for sure. But we gotta move on because there's a lot to talk about from this Raw.
So
So
much
we gotta try to move on as much as we can because there's a lot to unpack. Because we still have to talk about Liv Morgan and Raquel Rodriguez. They become 4-time women's tag team champions. Becky Lynch and Lyra Valkyria lose it in a day. We had 2 belts, Lyra, for a New York minute, and that was about it. But I like the purpose that it served.
Still, and you know what? Like, that was, I swear, WWE watches the Raw deal. They really do, because just a few weeks ago, I remember saying, like, I don't know how long it'll be if ever we'll have a dual championship. And we did.
We did, yep.
And we did. Even though Stephanie Vaquer held her title in the
NXT North American Women's Championship.
That one has a ridiculously long name, so
it does. It does.
So
the NXT Women's North American Championship. Yeah, that's a mouthful right there.
Can we tighten that up?
It's gotta be a way to bring that down some.
And you know what? It was crossed off.
Hey, she did it.
Yeah, she did it. Like
that's what matters. But I like what this carried us to, and of course that's the Becky Lynch heel turn. Becky Lynch came back. We all saw it, and it seemed like we was gonna get the man, but now it seems like we could be leading towards big time Bex. I just wanted to real quick get some of your thoughts on the heel turn, and what this could do for Lyra Valkyria's career.
I love backstabber Becky. I think people are starting to love Liv Morgan too much for her to be considered a heel.
Mm-hmm.
And someone has to also rise in the ranks that parallel Charlotte Flair. Who else has that level of heat right now?
True.
True. So I think it had to happen. And I love that it happened so soon. Like, we're wasting no time here. We're making each moment count. And it makes sense. And it makes us empathize with Lyra Valkyria even more. Like,
true.
I thought she had an amazing performance at WrestleMania. And she's beginning to grow on me even more. But
yeah,
what makes us empathize more than when someone they consider a mentor betrays them.
Yep. That's why it hit harder that it was Becky over Bayley. Like, everybody's like, oh, what happened with Bayley? I'm a firm believer that Bayley stepped off because the story is better told with Becky, because that's Lyra's mentor.
And if she was ready at that point in time, it's Bayley loses nothing. She's only going to get rewarded further down the line.
Yep.
And you know what? Whenever she comes back, I think she's due for a heel turn. I would love to see heel Bayley and Becky.
Yeah.
Someone has to ravage this women's division.
I agree.
At this point in time last year, Io Sky was heel, wasn't she?
She was, yep.
And now she's not. So it's funny the difference 365 days can make.
Absolutely. No, that's a good point. And it just for me, it's like, all right, now we're doing we're keeping things intriguing in the women's division where we got another top heel with Becky. We're building up Lyra. Like, that's a big thing. Like, we're giving Lyra, and you said it months ago, Lyra was too perfect, too pretty, just a clean product. I think we're finally going to see Lyra have some real adversity, and I think that Becky is going to really pull it out of her for sure. But we do got to move on because we had the return, a big return. Everybody was speculating when he was going to show up, and he did show up. That was Rusev. Rusev returned. He came back to the WWE and just took out the Alpha Academy, while the New Day was like, nope, I don't want none of that, and backed off.
So, okay, that was something that confused me about the placement in which he did return. So, like, and before I lose the thought, like, this was the best promo I've ever heard from Maxine Dupree. Like,
It good,
she
yep.
took that mic and she freaking owned it. Like, just in her delivery, she had something to say, and everyone was gonna listen. And
That's true.
And there was not a point in time where I tuned out because I'm like, okay, you know what, girl? You're speaking. I'm gonna listen. And like, I absolutely love these improvements from Maxine Dupree, and I can't wait to see what's to come of her because I think like over the course of 2025, I think she's gonna step into the fast lane. So I can't wait to see that. But like this placement of Rusev's return, so that was to take out Alpha Academy and make him look really strong, correct?
That's what I would assume, because I asked the same thing. I'm like, why is he coming like he's a singles wrestler? This is the tag team division. What's going on here? And I side note, loved Maxine Dupree's promo, loved the development of her, love everything that she's growing into slowly but surely.
She called New Day Minutemen, and I lost my shit.
Yes. She was witty. She was funny. She grew. She commanded my attention.
I'm like, is she calling these two grown men out and like questioning their masculinity in like in just nuanced way? And I just love it. I love it. I love the double entendre. It was quite crafty.
Yeah, she was great. But yes, I mean, it was totally a thing where they wanted him to look like a monster by beating up more than one man. And then you got to have the New Day take a powder to protect them because they're newly champions, still kind of new-ish heels. You know what I'm saying? So you don't want them to get involved with a Rusev who's brand new, because if he beats them up, they look stupid. But if they beat him up, then he just got his ass beat in his return to the company. So it doesn't help anybody for those three to get physical, but it did serve his purpose by him taking out Otis and taking out Tozawa and just looking strong.
You're right. And you know what? New Day loses nothing by being like, because they are the chicken shit heels. They are.
Yep.
And you know what? Rusev doesn't have to risk a pin. So.
And can I just say, Rusev looked absolutely freaking jacked. My God.
It's crazy. Like when people
looks insane.
When people leave WWE to go elsewhere, like whatever they find when they're not in the fold, and when they come back, like they take off. It's awesome. Like whatever Rusev did, whatever he changed on a fundamental level, like he's refined, and like I can't wait to see what is to come of him.
Yeah, it's gonna be fun. I'm excited. I was excited to see the Accolade again. That's gonna be awesome. And as somebody who's watched him for a while, I can tell you that he has fantastic matches. But that right there, Annie, is a perfect segue to another fantastic match. We had Io Sky, who came out, stood on business at what many people were calling the match of the weekend in that triple threat, and she retains the championship. And she's not an afterthought. She is not a paper champion. This is a woman who won, pinned, and defeated two of the top women in the division to retain her championship. You can't deny Io Sky, but it was fantastic to see the NXT Women's Champion Stephanie McCourt come out on this Raw after Mania. They had a great match. I already knew that there was going to be some shenanigans that was going to be happening.
Match
but
of
the
the
match
night
was great.
Match of the night for me. I loved like it was. You know, it's. I see why things are written the way that they were, and I see that now because seeing Io Sky the Raw after Mania, I see why she was written as this insignificant backseat champion. It's because like she was given an obstacle to overcome and she shined. She really, really, really did. Like she was given a huge task with, like you have to pop out on everyone's radar. You like whatever you do, like she conquered relevancy and she is at the forefront and she emerged as the person that we know that she is, and like it was given a whole new layer, and I think that was really present at this moment in Raw, and I feel indirectly like that boosted up Stephanie Vicaire even more. And it felt like the women's division got a whole different level of prestige, and we saw that moment take place.
Yeah, we absolutely did, because these two women just had a master class for
Mm-hmm.
sure. It was fun to watch, and all the stuff, like what the women's division is starting to really, like, I'm not gonna say it's heating up because we just got the match kind of sparking right now. It's not a
Right,
I
right.
can't say it's heating up, but it's definitely took a very, very, very interesting turn where we're seeing stuff like this. And then, of course, what this match ended up becoming was getting invaded by Roxanne Perez
Mhm.
and Julia, which looks like those two are going to be a thing, a faction possibly. And you have Rhea Ripley coming to make the save. Rhea's still saying she's making intentions to come for that championship, but I think that she most definitely got humbled by Io Sky, and it showed. I'm enjoying what's going on, but I gotta ask, what's your current thoughts on like the state of where we're at with the women's world heavyweight championship? Because like you have Io Sky, who's the champion. She had a great match with Vicor. Rhea, who's now like, hey, I'm coming for it, but it's like, for me personally,
Mhm.
like I'm ready to see Rhea tell some stories outside of that championship. But I guess the next question is going to be who on Monday Night Raw can step up to Io Sky, if it's not Bianca Belair, if it's not Rhea Ripley. um uh Becky Lynch has business with Lyra Valkyria right now, so it's not going to be her.
Mhm.
You know what I'm saying? So like, who's it going to be?
Mhm. You know what? I think, what if Rhea was the one who enlisted Stephanie Vicaire and Roxanne Perez to
Ooh,
ambush Io Sky? What if
new women's stable.
Rhea Ripley, is building a new heel tag team?
That I can get behind.
Because like just that moment where Rhea picked up the title and she stared at it. She stared at Io as she was getting up. The way that she held the title and she gave it back to Io, it felt like the that moment in the movie where you see the crow just like insert the frame at the right time, and you're like, oh
Yeah.
no, some evil shit's about to pop off. Like that's
Yep.
how that resonated with me. Like this omen, and you only have a matter of time before it reoccurs. So that's how that moment resonated with me. And
I like it. I didn't
I
even
don't know,
think
that's
about it.
that's the idea that my mind contrived, and now I want to see it.
I didn't think I wanted that because I didn't know it was a thing. But now I do, and now I want it.
You know
Because
what?
that'd be great.
And like Roxanne is due to come up to the
She is.
main roster anytime. Like she was, and you know what? And I think that was a test for Stephanie Vicaire. How can she perform at that level?
Yep.
She's given an assignment and she crushes it.
You know,
So
I really like it because Roxanne Perez coming up, who a prodigy. I mean, absolute prodigy. It's her name for a reason. But for her
Mm-hmm.
to come up and get a little rub from Rhea Ripley by being
Mm-hmm.
associated with her in the faction would be great. Julia, I mean, she's ready to go. She could be a fast call up. I don't see why not. There,
Mm-hmm.
you know, it gives you another tag team to compete in the women's tag team championship division. And then when somebody eventually gets turned on or what have you, then you got a baby face, whether it be
Mm-hmm.
Roxanne Perez if you want to make her baby face, or if you use that opportunity to turn Julia baby face. You got options. I like the idea of this stable between these three. And of course, you couldn't pull it off this past Monday because then it would have got lost in all the other stuff that happened. So I think that
Mm-hmm.
them holding it off could be good, and don't even get us thinking that Rhea has anything to do with it until it's like maybe after Backlash or something. Then it's like, all right, now let's pull this trigger now, because you gotta have bullets in the chamber. Yes,
Right.
do we just have a great Monday Night Raw after WrestleMania? Yes, but like the show's got to keep going after that.
It's like the seeds were planted for the next season.
Yep.
And that's exactly what this Raw felt like. It felt like, like everything at Mania, like all of the stories were wrapped up. And then the storylines are being planted for the next 365 days.
And it should be that way.
And you know what? Even if Rhea goes on another chase after the title, and she starts amassing this fictional tag team that I'm contriving in my head. Like, even if she loses that, there's still the women's tag teams to chase after.
For sure. And the reason that this idea has grown on me, because like we know for a fact, we have proven history that Rhea Ripley can be a faction leader. She was basically the faction leader of Judgment Day.
Mm-hmm.
So,
and you know what? She ran neck and neck with Damian Priest, and I still thought that was pretty awesome. So,
hey, most definitely, I like that idea. I like what you're vibing with there, and hopefully
we said it here first. Said it here first.
Right here
on our audio.
That's a clip right there. That for sure, that's a clip. Absolutely. I want to get to some of these comments real quick, just because we've really been hot into the conversation. We've got Ken Els. He's watching from Florida, checking out. My man, The Voice, says, this Raw was boobies on a Tuesday. Perfect in every sense of the way. And we got Bruzy coming in. He says, hope you guys are having a great night. Give us some of your thoughts, Bruzy. What was your favorite moments from WrestleMania and Raw after WrestleMania? We still got a few things to talk about, because we have Jey Uso. He came out, had a great celebration with Sami Zayn, who returned, Jimmy Uso, who was there too.
I didn't like it. Didn't like it.
Wasn't a fan of it?
Didn't like them being involved.
Okay, let's jump right into it. Let's go right into that one. We still, like I said, we still got a couple more things to talk about, but that was next on the list right there. Jey Uso celebrated his World Heavyweight Championship. Sammy returns. Jey returns. I know I was watching it, and me and my wife were like, oh God, is Sammy about to return? Because I don't know if you saw that quick little moment when they were there yeeting with each other. You had Sammy on one end, you had Jey on the other end, and then Sammy goes off the rope, and then he sits there and kind of just looks at Jey for a little bit. And me and my wife was both.
That's why I didn't like it. I have a very keen sense for detecting funny business, and I found it. I found it, because what were you doing for the last however long? And Sammy is one of those people. I don't know. He's got those shifty eyes. Like, even though he's been out of sight, out of mind for a while, what were you doing? And I said it before, like, what does a heel Sammy feel like? You know, they were chanting Sammy Uso, and I'm like, okay, none of Mania was centered around bloodline antics.
None of it, which is wild to think. But with Sammy being there, I do think that down the line, I think it was a good moment for him to tell Jay, hey, I'm proud of you and everything. And the crowd bid on it and everything. Don't get me wrong. That was a cool moment. But I do think we're planting seeds for Sammy to be an opponent down the line for Jey Uso.
Sammy Uso's not one of those people you take your eye off of.
No, absolutely not. Absolutely
Sammy
not.
always knows what's up, and he's up to something.
Yep. And remember, this is the same man that said, I will be a world champion. And who knows, maybe Sammy is or has started to study the John Cena playbook and understand if you want to be a champion, you got to do whatever it takes to be a champion. Cody wasn't able to do whatever it took to win this championship or to keep his championship, which, sidebar really quick, I don't want to get too deep into this, but like, I don't understand how Cody would not hit John Cena with the title. I don't understand it when he had no problem literally killing Kevin Owens by putting him through a ladder with the Alabama Slam at Royal Rumble. I was there, saw it firsthand. I just don't understand why he was able to go to those links with Kevin, but wouldn't go to those links with Cena to keep the championship. Like I said, I don't want to go into a whole thing about it, but just
Because
weird to me.
Where's the line?
Yeah, exactly. That's my thing. Where is the line?
Kevin resonated on a line that is, like family. And John Cena is a hero. But what's the difference? Like,
that's what. Listen, it's like I said, that might be a topic for another podcast. But I'm just saying there's something there. But
I feel it.
But back to Jay. I mean, this was kind of cut and dry. I mean, not to say that I don't want to take away from the moment or anything, but like, it was kind of cut and dry. We came out, we had the eating, we had the celebration. No intentions were made just yet as far as who his next contenders are going to be. I thought it was a good moment, but not really anything to like super unpack there, honestly. I'm glad you were able to get your thoughts out for sure, which is what we do here. But as far as I go, like, this was just cut and dry.
It was.
Eating, excitement, congratulations, boom, boom, boom. It is what it is. But we still got a couple more things to talk about. Man, I got to tell you, The Rock, who didn't show up on WrestleMania, and everybody speculated, especially when Travis Scott was there. He had a couple of things to say on Pat McAfee's podcast. We're going to talk about that and the rest of Raw after Mania. But first, we're going to take a break real quick. And when we come back, we're going to get into that. We're going to talk a little bit of Rock and then do exactly what I just said we're going to do. Talk about the rest of Raw after WrestleMania.
Hello, everyone. It's the Pope Elijah Burke, founder and president of the Love Alive charity. I wanted to take this brief moment to share with you my charity's continued humanitarian efforts to positively impact the impoverished communities in and around the greater Jacksonville area. This cannot be possible without your support. If you'd be so kind, please take a moment to visit our website, love-alive.org, to learn more about the charity and its mission. Also, feel free to donate to our 501c3 organization that operates off of the donation of the public, which is you. Whether that be by website or via Cash App, $1 help makes a difference in the lives of others as we continue to positively influence many people by being the change that we wish to see in the world.
Exciting things are happening at the Kokomo Press. Yeah, very exciting things. Not only are we bringing you comedy shows, an open mic once a week, skits, videos, funny jokes on our page, and satire news stories, but now you can support us by going to kokomopress.com kokomopress.shop. It's that simple. You go to kokomopress.shop, you find a t-shirt, you find a hat, maybe in the future some stickers and some posters. You go on there, you buy one of those from us, and percentage of the proceeds will go to us and help support what we do. We appreciate every person who just likes, subscribes, does all that. But if you go to kokomopress.shop and you buy something, we'll know who you are. You send us a photo of it. We will post it on our page and shout it out. Thank you so much. Go to kokomopress.shop, buy all your shirts and hats needs, and support the Kokomo Press. Thank you guys so much. kokomopress.shop.
Hey guys, welcome back to In Your House, specifically the Raw deal with Howse and O'Neal. And before we went to break, I was talking about something, and I was telling you before we went on the air, Annie, that the other day I was in the gym.
Mhm.
I realized that The Rock was going to be on Pat McAfee's show, and I think we're all in the same spot of like, where this was a great WrestleMania, but we could have sworn The Rock was going to show up. And then when we saw Travis Scott, you had to think, hey, The Rock is definitely going to show up, but he didn't. And
there were rumors, and
there
he
were a lot of
usually
rumors.
shows up when there
There
are
were-
rumbles. Yep.
Listen, there were shirts made that said, finally, The Rock has come back to Las Vegas, and he was not on one Vegas show at all.
Not even
At all.
SmackDown.
So I don't know what happened. I have no clue what happened with that. But there was, when I got a chance to listen to The Rock on the Pat McAfee show, he made a couple of things clear to me. And it's interesting because I'm the type of person that if I really want to know what's going on, I'm going to tune in and see what they're talking about. I wanted to tune in and see what Rock was talking about because I wanted to hear his thoughts on Mania, which he talked about it. And then I wanted to hear why he wasn't there. So here's the bullet points that I took and that a lot of people have taken. If you go on the dirt sheet, you could see it, the little snippets from it. Here's what I took from it.
Mhm.
So The Rock was called by Ari Emanuel, president of TKO, Nick Khan, and they approached him and said, hey, ticket sales are slow for Elimination Chamber. Can you come in and try to pop some tickets? And he's like, yeah, but let me fool around with something if I'm going to do that. And that's this idea that Cody's going to sell his soul to me.
Yeah.
And he said the idea wasn't for Cody to turn heel there, but it was a experiment to see how people would react if I offered that to Cody, because people want to see the Cody heel turn. And they're like, I want to see how people, he's like, so people mainly reacted like they wanted to see him sell his soul to The Rock. He's like, that's just what I wanted to see down the line. And then, as far as like the Cena thing, I was just there, to see everything go down. And it was a good catalyst to get Cena to turn heel. And, it took a lot of things in from this interview because once again, you have to really hear it in order to see the things that he's saying. And another thing that he said was, I saw where things were going with Cena and Cody, and I realized that I didn't need to be involved. It didn't need to be about me. It needed to be about the story that Cody and Cena were telling. And when I'm listening to all the stuff that he's saying, I'm like, okay, you know what? That makes sense. I get where
experimental.
Yeah, it feels experimental, and I'm like, okay, so you wanted to try all these things. So when I came out of it, and I was like, okay, I kind of better understand, because I was in the same spot when I didn't see Rock. I was like, man, what the hell, Rock? Come on, man. Like, you not showing up at WrestleMania very much made it look like when you were, when you showed up on SmackDown out of the blue and then on Elimination Chamber, it very much made it look like you were just swinging your dick around. That's what it
exactly
looked
what
like.
it is. That's all it needed to be.
And
It's imminence. It's the idea of imminence. You don't know when he's watching. You don't know where he's watching, and he can
just
show
pop
up.
up
Yeah,
and do whatever he wants,
Yeah.
and
he's an
break
overseer.
whatever. Yeah,
He's
and
an
break
overseer.
whatever storyline that he
Yeah.
wants to. He can do what he wants. So when he said it the way that he said it, I was like, okay, I get it. At least you gave an explanation, yada, yada, yada. So I go to the internet to do what we do here, and that's gauge public reaction to these things. It was completely opposite of how I took the interview. Reaction was people were like, Dwayne is an egomaniac. He's a fraud. He doesn't care about wrestling. This was him backpedaling. This was yada yada, this and that. This was him coming with sorry excuses and all this. Like, they came out like there was some people that was like, that makes perfect sense. But for every one comment that said he's making perfect sense, there was a Rock don't care about wrestling, Rock's an egomaniac, Rock is ruining storylines just so he can feel like a big shot, blah blah blah. That was very much like the main response from the common fan. And I'm like, damn, because like there's, while I understand where Rock was coming from, there was a couple of things that did come off weird to me in the interview once I marinated on it. One of them being like, it's a weird look. Why would you go on a public platform like the Pat McAfee show and say ticket sales for Elimination Chamber was slow? Even if they were slow, I wouldn't have said that. I'm just saying, like, that is a weird look that he came on there and said, hey, even if they were, you shouldn't say that. You don't see AEW saying, hey, we were only half full. You know what I'm saying? Like, even if it's true, you don't say it. And then another thing
but maybe that's why he did say it, because just to show sleight of hand, like just how easily, like, when he says something, we're paying attention. Like,
all true.
There's a huge power in speculation. When you are, I guess, honest without being transparent, because there's a difference. Because he, like, if it's a smoke screen, like, it's just like a subconscious announcement, like, hey, I can do whatever I want, and when I say I might do something, it doesn't matter if I actually do it. You're going to be paying attention. I have your energy. Right. I have control. And that's and like I wanted to ask you because like going on an outlet like a podcast, it adds a very interesting way to add a layer of depth and adds a layer of nuance, but people still like it's like the concept of like the fourth wall, but it doesn't exist at the same time. Like there's a veil. Like you see what happens behind the veil, but it's still like you still can't see it clearly.
If I could really say anything about that podcast interview that he did, is that we definitely got Dwayne Johnson. We didn't get the final boss. We got Dwayne Johnson.
What kind of context do you think going on a podcast like that adds in relation to like storytelling? Because that's what this is.
Oh yeah, it's absolutely storytelling, and it's them telling a story on a different level. You know what I'm saying? Like when we saw Paul Heyman and Michael Cole going back and forth on Pat McAfee's show, just going back and forth with each other, talking about, oh well, you're the manager who goes to the highest bidder. Who's ever paying you is where you're going. And then you have Paul Heyman snapping back saying, oh, I don't see you jumping ship to WCW. I don't see you going to Jacksonville. You went with the highest bidder. This is very much like it blurs the lines. And I think that's something like shows like that and podcasts can do. But on the other end of the spectrum, I think it was interesting to see, because one thing that I took from it personally when I was done listening to The Rock on the Pat McAfee show, I was like, damn, it was really cool to hear The Rock talk about wrestling, not be finally and final boss and the millions. This was not The Rock. This was Dwayne Johnson giving his thoughts and opinions on the WrestleMania card, talking wrestling business. So yeah, I wanted to break it down and talk about it. But at the end of the day, my mindset is like, it's cool to hear somebody on that level talk about the business.
And he wasn't in boss mode either.
No, he wasn't.
Wasn't the corporate overlord.
It was just Dwayne Johnson talking about WrestleMania, talking about why he wasn't there at the show, talking about the business. And I just thought that was interesting. But once again, I just wanted to, like, the parallels between me listening to him and saying, this all makes perfect sense. And then the internet taking it in and saying, no, we hate you. We rebuke everything that you're saying. I will say this because I said it earlier. I think it was the hype. I said, I do not expect Rock to come out and try to do any final boss stuff for a little bit, because if his true intent was to back off and let Cena and Cody tell the story, and he didn't show up for WrestleMania, that means you got to, at least in my mind, you got to stand on that. Because if you don't, if he comes back and starts doing this, final boss shot calling thing or whatever, it's very much going to be like, bro, you're just coming back so you can try to take the spotlight again. You can make it about you. But like, I think, and let me, like, this comparison, look at the graciousness that Triple H has had in backing off and stepping off. You don't see him trying to come back and do the Ric Flair thing and be the center of attention or anything like that. He knows his role. He accepts his role. It is what it is. I think that people will appreciate Rock a little bit more and not think that he's just, swinging his authority around if he very much comes from like an executive type of standpoint like he did on this podcast.
I agree. And I think it's a turning of the tide where, people are just using their platform and giving it to someone else and letting the story be what it needs to be without any added ego to it.
Yeah.
And I really appreciate that.
Yeah, I thought it was interesting. The way the public was taking it in was real interesting to me. But we got to move on because we still got a couple more things to talk about before we slide out of here.
Absolutely.
And some major things we have to talk about it. And that's after we saw the celebration of Jay and Sammy and Jimmy. Like we said, it was kind of cut and dry with that, and it is what it is. What really was interesting was what happened after they came back from break. We come back from commercial break. Gunther is sitting over there arguing and going back and forth with commentary, Michael Cole and Pat McAfee. What happened here is that Cole ended up getting in the sleeper hold. Pat McAfee comes for the save. Pat McAfee makes a big mistake and turns his back on Gunther and ends up getting the sleeper hold for his trouble. He held that in for a while. I like the touch of Pat McAfee's boys jumping the barricade to try to give it a touch of like a little realism. But I enjoyed this, and I'm enjoying this. Is exactly, in my mind, this is exactly what we needed to see from Gunther. 80% of his time with the company, he's been the champion. Let's see this slow descent into madness that we're kind of seeing with Gunther. But what were your thoughts on this segment?
It's going to be really interesting to see what Gunther is without the identity of the champion.
Yeah.
Because like you said, 80% of the time he's been with WWE, he's held a championship. That's pretty remarkable. Like, that's a once in a lifetime type of person.
Not a lot of people could say that.
But when that's all you know and you're broken of that, who do you become?
Charlotte Flair.
Because the crash out was real.
Yeah, it was.
Because
yes, it was.
Because he was far beyond reach of that prestigious, larger than life, the person who just emits like an unforgettable aura. Like, that person was an animal. He was primitive. Yep. He had every intention of choking the life out of a man. Pat McAfee, one of the most beloved creatures of WWE. And like, when you do something like that really sends a message. And I'm here for it. I love it.
I enjoyed it. I thought, once again, where are we going with Gunther? I think we see where we're going with Gunther. Could we see a Pat McAfee and Gunther match in the future? Maybe.
I feel like it. Why not? Yeah. I mean, like, and this is something that's been escalating over the past few weeks. Even before Mania. Like, Gunther has been I feel like this has been premeditated.
Yep. Like, I think we're seeing the slow unraveling of Gunther.
Mm-hmm. It's the Drew McIntyre effect.
Yep, I like that. Yep. Totally agree. I'm ready to see this iteration of Gunther, somebody who doesn't need to have a belt. I think he'll get a championship again. I think we'll go, we'll run that back. We will run that back, but it does not need to be anytime soon. I think get him away from the championship. I'd say just let him become this different ring general. What we're seeing, where he's beating Jimmy Uso to a bloody pulp, where he's beating up and bullying on commentary, and I think that's kind of where we're going, where we're seeing him just become a twisted individual, and I'm here for that for sure. Also, on the flip side of things, I like the touch from Michael Cole. He's like, I'm going to go out and I'm going to finish the show. I'm finishing the show because that's what I do. And he was telling Adam Pearce, we're not allowed to have opinions. We're not allowed to have fun. We're not allowed to do anything. And I just think that I enjoyed that touch. I enjoy the fact that Michael Cole is the one who was doing it, because Michael Cole is the veteran. He's been around for a long time. I liked it, man. I don't know where we're going with that exactly, but the fact that he stood on business and was like, hey, this is how I feel. I think it's going to open up for things. I think that was just an opening for things to get a little bit more loose on commentary. So that could be it too.
I mean, like, that opens up a whole new depth when people are allowed to be, like, they get to really be expressive in their talents.
Yeah.
Because, like, that was something that wasn't, like, extraordinary, but it was commendable. Like, those types of things, like, people remember. Like, that's pretty traumatic, witnessing someone try and take your friend out. Yep. I'd say, but being able to overcome that and finish the job, like, it's pretty damn awesome. Because the show, it goes on. You keep the wheels turning.
Yeah, I enjoy
and also
that
if you allow someone like Gunther to get away with behavior like that, I don't know. They feel like they
It's a slippery
They can do
slope at
anything.
that point.
Right, exactly.
I think that's where you were going, is that it just becomes a slippery slope at that
Right.
point. So you got to try to nip it in the bud, and I
Right.
think that's exactly what Cole's intentions were, to
Mhm.
be like, hey, somebody's got to do something about this. I like
Right.
it. I don't know where it's going, but I'm excited to see where it goes. And this led to the first defense of champion Dominic Mysterio, Intercontinental Champion Dominic Mysterio,
Mhm.
against Penta. Penta takes the pin. We see the returning JD McDonough. This was just, for me, I was happy to see JD McDonough, but I will say that
bobblehead.
yes, it's JD McBobblehead. But I will say this, for me, that was another situation that was just kind of cut and dry.
Right.
It was a short match. We saw the return to JD. There was no way, because my son was like, what if they just give Dominic Mysterio a 1 day reign just to put it on Penta? I'm like, ain't no way they're doing 2 1 day title runs in the same interval of time. No
Dominic
way.
needs a run.
He
I
needs a
really
run.
think I think he had the US championship the last time he held it.
Who, Dominic?
Yeah.
He had the NXT North American Championship.
Okay.
Yep. He had that for a very short while, but yes, he
Gotcha.
had it.
But you know what? I think he's been putting in the work week after week after week. He's not allowed to go out there and look like an idiot. But that's just what you do. That's just the service that you give of yourself. And it's just it's how the business works. And it's rewarded. And I think Dominic, he really deserves it. So
Yeah,
it's not going to be a short run.
I don't think
it's gonna
so
be
either.
for a good while, at least a couple months.
For sure. I want to see him hold it for a while, to be honest with you. So that's going to be interesting. Like I said, real cut and dry on that. But that just leads us perfectly into what I really want to talk about. That's everything going down with Seth Rollins, Paul Heyman. CM Punk comes out. He's trying to, he's like, I'm coming. He gets taken out by Seth Rollins. Roman Reigns comes out. He's coming, takes care of business real quick. Rollins, spear, get out of here. I'm not here for you. I'm here for the wise man. Superman punch. He's about to come and just drop Heyman with the spear. But who comes and spears him instead? Out of nowhere, which I didn't see this coming. Braun Breaker comes out, reveals that he's aligned with Seth Rollins and Paul Heyman. And Paul Heyman declares Seth Rollins the undisputed, unquestioned #1 superstar of the WWE after the triple threat match, all the things that went down Saturday night with the night 1 main event. What were your thoughts? Because I'm a Braun Breaker guy. I love Braun. I mean, I went and got a chance to meet him Royal Rumble weekend, and listen, that's the thing. I'm not just going out for. I'm not stepping out for just anybody. Like, I went out for Braun Breaker because I mess with him heavy. I like what he's got. He's got a look. His spear is disgusting. His speed is crazy. He's got the lineage of being a Steiner, and then the fact that he's a Paul Heyman guy now too. Oh my God, the sky is the absolute limit. I'm loving what this is and what this could become. But I got to ask you, what are your thoughts on this seemingly new, not seemingly, I mean, it seems like it's going down, this new alliance, Seth Rollins, Braun Breaker with manager Paul Heyman?
And excommunicated Roman Reigns. Weird. This is a weird deviation in the timeline. It's like, what?
Add to exactly what you're saying, real quick. Cody Rhodes was right. He called this, that Roman was going to lose everything, and he lost everything.
He did. It's like the small details when they finally connect in the grand scheme. It's like, this is why you have to pay attention, because the smallest things come to fruition. And then when it happens, it's like, oh my God, this was going to happen the entire time.
cosmic.
Like, yes. It's one of those moments when you know the universe is looking right back at you.
Yep.
And it's like, hey, idiot, this has been going on and was going to happen the entire time. The
Almost like
entire time.
almost like some sort of like an omen.
And Hypocrite Rollins is one of my favorite flavors, by the way.
It's great. I love him.
And like
I love him.
he really isn't the he's just a different. It's funny, like, because look where he was 10 years ago when he fell out from the Shield
Mm-hmm.
and where he is now. He's still the same
Crazy.
person.
Yeah.
And like he's come all like full rotation. It's crazy. Like, oh, so like, and just the how Raw ended, just like CM Punk Seth Rollins, and then you had Paul Heyman, and then you had Braun Breaker, like them standing tall together. Oh, that felt foreboding, and it feels great, and it feels like shit's about to go down.
Yeah. I want to ask you though. I got to
Mhm.
ask you this and get your opinion on this. Braun Breaker. I want to go specific because we already know Seth Rollins is that guy. We know what he's capable of. But I
Mhm.
want to talk about Braun Breaker. Braun Breaker, who I think has been presented really well
Mhm.
in the main roster.
Mhm.
He came in as a killer. Then the dog barking thing started becoming a thing, which kind of transitioned him almost a tweener leaning towards more babyface.
Mhm.
Two-time Intercontinental Champion. Both runs were solid. He did well.
Mhm.
Braun Breaker with Seth Rollins under the tutelage of Paul Heyman.
Mhm.
For you, what's Braun Breaker's trajectory at this point?
What is the common thing that links every other Paul Heyman guy? And how old is Braun Breaker? And you just listed a huge feat of accomplishments
Mm-hmm.
for someone who is as young as Braun Breaker.
27.
Okay.
27.
If you had those accomplishments in the doors of access that Paul Heyman has for you, and he could open those doors for you, how could you not? How could you not?
I think he's going to be a world heavyweight champion. If
I
not,
mean,
if not this year, early next year.
do you want to run down the clientele of Paul Heyman? Go ahead, Con. Go ahead.
CM Punk, Roman Reigns, of course, Brock Lesnar. I
Braun
mean,
Lesnar. Braun Lesnar.
there you go right there. I mean, just those names right there that we know for a fact that he's been involved in are groundbreaking names.
Roman Reigns. He held the title for over 1,000 days, correct?
Oh, I believe over 1,300.
1,300. Yeah.
So yeah.
It writes itself.
You know what's crazy
Mm-hmm.
is that Heyman, because I came up with this on my I came to this realization on my own,
Mm-hmm.
is that we know that Lesnar, one of the greatest undisputed champions in the Attitude Era, or not in the Ruthless Aggression Era at that time,
Mm-hmm.
Paul Heyman. 20, the late 2012, 2013, I'm forgetting which year it was, but I know that CM Punk, 434-day title reign, which
Mm-hmm.
at that time was unprecedented because the title was flip-flopping around. He held it for 434 days.
Mm-hmm.
Paul Heyman. Roman Reigns, over 1,300 days. Paul Heyman.
Mm-hmm.
Like you said, with all the accolades that the 27-year-old lineage that he has, Steiner lineage, that Braun Breaker has with Paul Heyman, I mean, I would have to think a little bit more as far as like if I'm putting numbers on it, but I'm not putting numbers on it. I'm saying that this year or early next year, Braun Breaker is going to be a world heavyweight champion.
And you know what? I know Braun Breaker looks like he would set off the lunk alarm at Planet Fitness. He doesn't strike me as like an astrophysicist, but I think the neurons are wiring and firing pretty well.
Yeah.
So I mean, and like, Seth Rollins is pretty smart himself.
That's
So
what's scary. What's
yeah.
scary about this Braun Breaker thing is that where he has like you said, you look at him and you don't see like he's the the sharpest tool in the shed. You know what I'm saying? But like the fact that he has Heyman and Rollins around him, and they're gonna smarten him up, dangerous.
And
That's
you know
dangerous.
what? Seth Rollins really took a back seat in 2024. Like, it was rough for him.
It really was. It's true. That's true.
So he really, really tried to take the straight and narrow. And sometimes the straight and narrow is really, really, really rough. So sometimes, like, it is human nature to fall susceptible to the easy path.
Hey.
And I'm not judging it. I'm just saying, like, it's a valid path. So, like,
this is about to be incredible TV. I mean,
and this is like setting the tone for the next 365 days.
Exactly. Because you really I'm just saying they didn't put Braun Breaker in this faction for him to be an Intercontinental Champion again.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't put him in this spot to be in the main event segment with Seth Rollins and Paul Heyman for him to be just a tag team champion.
Mm-hmm.
I think they understand what they have with Breaker. And I think that it was just I think it's just a matter of time. Because I don't know if you remember this one interaction. It was right after Breaker lost the Intercontinental Championship the first time.
Mm-hmm.
And after that happened, because it was the Sami Zayn, after that happened, Breaker, who was doing the dogs are barking babyface tweener thing, he had a segment with Gunther, World Heavyweight Champion Gunther. And it looked like he was making intentions to start a thing with Gunther.
Mm-hmm.
And then they pivoted. I forget what happened, but they pivoted. They put Gunther in a different direction, and then they moved Braun Breaker back to the Intercontinental title scene. But the intent to put Breaker in that World Heavyweight Championship picture was there. I think they're going to revisit it, but they're going to revisit it in this massively different way with this faction with Rollins.
And it was intended the entire time.
I think so. My question is, what does that? Because if Rollins isn't, I don't know. I don't think Rollins is going to take a backseat to Braun Breaker. So if Braun Breaker is going to be a world heavyweight champion, that's got to be maybe because Seth became world heavyweight champion and he was kind of like using Braun Breaker as an enforcer, and then maybe he starts to kind of like mistreat Breaker a little bit and like, hey, the only reason you're here is because I brought you here, and that's how you switch Breaker to the sympathetic babyface, being bullied by, you're not bullied because Breaker is too big of a guy to be bullied, but he's like, hey, I brought you into this trajectory. I can get you out of it. And then Breaker's like, you know what? No, I'm ready to break off on my own. And that's how you down the line create babyface Breaker and heel Rollins, and you set Breaker up to take the title off of Rollins down the line, of course. But I
Mhm.
do think that some kind of way he's going to win the title, but I think it's going to be because Rollins got it first.
What if Braun won Money in the Bank?
Okay, all right. I
Or
hear
if
you.
Seth did, because how would that happen? How because that's interesting. Because how do you have both of them potentially win it? Or one sabotages the other?
So what if you do a thing where Breaker wins the Money in the Bank
Mm-hmm.
and Rollins demands that he relinquish the briefcase to him?
Ooh, you could apply some type of pressure to make him do so.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
To make him give that briefcase up.
Right.
And then that's going to create a resentment storyline with
Mm-hmm.
Breaker.
Mm-hmm.
He's going to resent Rollins, especially when Rollins eventually cashes in and wins the title.
Mm-hmm.
Then he's really going to resent Rollins because he's like, damn, that could have been me.
I mean, I feel like the heist of the century has to be revisited at some point.
Yeah.
But how could it be written into a new generation?
That is yet to be told, unless you want, instead of doing it at WrestleMania, maybe you do it at like SummerSlam or something, just to kind of switch things up, in that way. Because we just I know we didn't see it this year, but just last year we saw WrestleMania cash in, and I don't think we want to see I don't want to see like a WrestleMania cash in happen every year or
Right.
once every 2
Right.
years or something. I feel like that don't go to that well too much. So
Mhm.
I feel like a WrestleMania cash in, I feel like we got to wait another like 4, 5, 6 years to see that again,
Because it was cashed in really early last year.
It was. It was. Damien cashed in, and that created the whole villain arc that really intensified for Drew McIntyre.
Mhm.
But like I don't know how you get there. Maybe we're moving a little bit too ahead of it, just because of my mindset. I'm like, I want to see what this Braun Breaker, Seth Rollins,
Right.
Heyman faction is going to do. So maybe getting a little bit too ahead of the game there.
I'm still
But that's
vibing
what
off
we do
Mania.
here. We speculate.
Yes, this is like we're in the creative space from all of the amazing things that we experience from Mania. So
Absolutely, most definitely. And I think that's what we did. I think we got everything out there. We talked a whole lot of Mania, a lot of Raw after WrestleMania because it was great. Another great episode of the Raw deal
absolutely,
with Howse and O'Neil. Always great to come on Wednesdays and do this and chat
that's
it
what
up
we
with
do.
exactly. Chat it up with somebody as great as Annie O'Neil. So I gotta give it to the greatness of Annie O'Neil. She's divinely designed. Let them know everywhere they can catch you and what you're doing.
Well, you can catch me this weekend in Marshfield, Wisconsin, for Frontline Pro. Our main event will be Josh Price taking on Tyson Maddox, and another Liberty division match with the amazing Rory Shield and Sierra. They'll be tearing it down, so it's going to be a lot of fun. It's a climb to glory, so ladder match, and more ladder matches. So it's going to be fun, and I can't wait for that. Yeah, that's pretty much for it for me this weekend. How about you? What is going on for you, Con?
Well, I'm going to be right here doing my thing and in your house, most definitely. But I will say that May 10th is going to be a big show, not just Backlash. I'll definitely be checking that out at some point. But it's going to be Emerge Wrestling. Emerge has a really big show. I'm excited for this one. Usually their biggest show of the year is obviously Emergence Day in January, and that's real fun. But I got to tell you, it's giving Emergence Day vibes as they're doing Pandemonium in the Pavilion, Saturday, May 10th, new building. It's going to be great. We got a bull rope grudge match between Aaron Williams and the veteran Jack Bond, a tag team title ladder match between the Portrait of Perfection, Chet Ripley, and the President, Jeremy Hadley. I mean, you have the Hex. The Hex is in the building. Like
Amazing.
we already have
Amazing.
the awesomeness of Marty Bell. Now we're gonna have Allison Kay come, and they're gonna have a great tag team match against Ari Alexander and Mystery Partner. A banger between TNA star Jason Hotch and Matt Diesel for the Outbreak Championship. Deontay Davis is going to go up against Ashton Adonis for the Emerge World Heavyweight Championship. And an elimination tag team match. We're getting real Survivor Series in May. Team Morty versus Team Paragon.
Mhm.
I've been tasked to bring a team together for Paragon and JD Mariani. I got some ideas about who I'm about to have on this team, but you guys got to get over to the Emerge social media page to check out when that announcement drops. It's going to be great, but mainly, like I said, In Your House, always top priority for me. I always enjoy coming together with these awesome creators and just talk wrestling, man. It's a vibe. I love it every single time I get a chance to do it. It's not old to me. But guys, this is what we do here. It's all a part of the work, and that's HOWSC, and that W stands for work. So for Divinely Designed, Annie O'Neill, and the whole team here at In Your House, I am Alakan, the Concept House, here to remind you to tell a friend to tell a friend to tell a friend to hop on this bandwagon. Get on or get gone, because the household is still going mighty strong. You guys have a great day, and hey, have a great rest of your week. Peace.
Yeah. In your house with O'Kon. Hey, O'Kon in your house. Hollywood in your house. Hypocrisy's head in the clouds. Curating all kind of loud. Wrestling in front of the crowds. Paragon's holding it down. Anybody can get it. Josh Joseph standing on his decisions. He is the voice. There is no choice. We as them boys in your house making wrestling noise. Moving fast just like cruiserweight action. In your house is the perfect distraction. Rumpus in your ears when you in traction. Get this work with some wrestling action. Smoke.